Christina with Southern Appalachian Wilderness Stewards, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about nature photography. One of the central tenets of Leave No Trace is to take only pictures and leave only footprints. Nature photography offers us a special way to bond with landscapes and make memories to bring home with us. Today we're going to cover two major topics in this video. The first is how to plan ahead and prepare for great shots, and the second is tips for in the moment for great composition. One thing to keep in mind is that knowing how to use your equipment is more important than the equipment itself. I have this fancy DSLR camera, which I love for certain things, and I've learned how to use it over the years, but most of the time when I'm out in the wilderness, I'm using my smartphone camera. It's smaller, it's lighter, and it can do just about everything I need it to do. So you don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on a fancy piece of equipment just to take nice photos. Once you know which equipment you're using and how to use it, make sure you do some research ahead of time. Know the weather and what to expect to see in the area where you're visiting. Knowing a little bit about the ecology of an area can give you a lot of great ideas for photos. Cloudy and rainy weather offers its own challenges and rewards, and most importantly, make sure to be prepared for the weather. The time of year will greatly impact your photos. In the spring, wildflowers are a great subject, and in the fall, you have that beautiful fall foliage. Know what kind of shots you're looking for and think about the time of day. Sunrise and sunset are going to offer the most dramatic lighting, especially during golden hour, which is the last hour before the sun sets. Shooting when the sun is strongest in the middle of the day is challenging and doesn't always yield the best photos. If you're looking to photograph a sunset, find an overlook. Partly cloudy days will be the most dramatic. And finally, before you head out, make sure you know your Leave No Trace principles. Ensure that you're preparing ahead and carrying essential gear if you're planning on going into the backcountry. Make sure you're staying on designated trails, especially when photographing sensitive ecosystems. It can be tempting to step off a trail to get that perfect shot, but one step can kill a plant and impact the ecosystem. If you're photographing wildlife, ensure that you are maintaining a respectful distance. It might seem exciting to get up close and personal, but it can cause stress to the animal and be a safety issue for you. Now that we have a plan in place, let's talk about some composition tips. The first easy step is to make sure your horizons are horizontal. Make sure you're holding your camera or your phone so that any horizon in your image is level. Next, think about rule of thirds and balance. The subjects should be placed where the image is divided into thirds. This isn't a rule, but it definitely creates some visual interest. Think about the center of mass of your image. Make sure that the left and right side of the image have similar visual weight. It's something that you can play around with, and certainly not every image has to be balanced. But this is an easy way to make a more aesthetically pleasing photograph. Leading lines are lines that help guide the viewer's eyes through your photo. Natural lines in nature make a great way to guide someone's eyes through an image. Think about how trees, cliffs, riverbanks, or other naturally occurring lines can be utilized. I like to use trails as my subject in a lot of my photos, which draws the eyes and adds a lot of visual interest. Next, think about perspective. When I'm taking photos, I like to think a lot about my foreground, middle ground, and background. When I'm taking a picture, I move throughout my visual space and try to catch it from a couple of different angles. I try to get down and make sure that I am intentionally placing something in the foreground of my image in order to maintain some visual interest in that area of the photo. Trees and rocks can be used as framing to add some visual interest and create anchor points at the edges of your photos. When I'm walking down the trail, I try to keep an eye out for interesting or contrasting colors, because these will add a lot of interest to my pictures. Also, when dealing with light, I try to avoid facing my camera directly at the sun because I usually end up with light streaks in my photos. Try a couple different angles in order to get the best possible lighting. Finally, use some reflections. Water's your friend, and it can lead to a lot of very interesting perspective shifting shots. So there you have it. In this video we covered two main ideas, planning ahead and some composition tips. Some final words of wisdom: there really are no hard and fast rules in photography. So get out there, mess around, and be creative. Thanks for watching.